Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Invin and today I'm here bringing you guys a part 2 to the series that I started a couple of days ago here on the channel, bringing you guys the best attribute perks or skill perks, whatever you want to call them, on those weapons here for different classes, different styles of player in the game. In the previous video that I recorded a couple of days back here, I went over the Great Axe and both the Warhammer to kind of explain to you guys which perks basically work really well, the perks that you're going to definitely want on your war team. And today I'm here to talk about the life staff. Now the life staff is going to be crucially important going forward. There's going to be some big changes which I've talked about on the channel in the past couple of days here as well, and as a lot of you guys will know, that some of the passives, particularly if you're going to be on that upper end of those armors in that heavy category, you're not going to have the healing bonus. So this is going to be really important to kind of pay attention to, particularly if you are going to plan to still use the Paladin build. We're going to be going over kind of the most crucial weapon perks and item perks to have. I'm not really going to touch too much on different armor perks in this video, but I am going to go over a few crucial ones such as fortifying sacred ground, which when we get to that I'll go over it for you guys. But this is going to be the best things that you want on your weapon. Now before someone mentions it in the comments, let's just ignore my pitiful level 64 Arcana skill. I've got my guys in the company leveled up on that and they can supply me with the stuff, so I kind of just coast along on this one. I will get it up eventually, but right now we've not been looking at it. But right here what we are actually looking at is of course the item perks. Now what I'm going to do here is overlay some images from the website New World Database, which will be linked in the description down below, and that is essentially going to be to help describe what I'm saying to you guys about some of these, because of course if we have the item like Blessed, it doesn't give us a synopsis of what this does or is. And the same when we go down here to look at some of the other ones, which we're going to look at, like Refreshing Divine Embrace, for example. It doesn't exactly tell you what these ones are. So what I'm going to do is, I know what they are, I've got it wrote down on the other monitor here, so I'm going to look at that, and then I'm going to put the image on screen from their website, because it's a very good synopsis. It tells you in like an item format, just on the left hand side of the screen here, so you guys can see exactly what I'm speaking about. So of course here the first thing is going to be Slither of Crystallized Azoth, which gives you Blessed. So with the sliver here, obviously this gives the item Blessed, which is plus a percentage to the healing. I believe this percentage is 26 or 28%. If we have a look on the life staff I've got right now, it's obviously plus 25%, but when you're actually putting these on, the values are slightly different to this. Generally you're going to be looking between the 24 and the 28% for healing bonus there, and I think the actual crafting one, when you do put it on, especially on those high-end crafts, is actually going to be up there at 28%. This is really good and is going to be absolutely essential going forward into future patches when we do get 1.1, or at least the next update when a Void Gauntlet's released and we've got all of those weapon balance changes in. Having that on any life staff is going to be absolutely crucial, but particularly the build I'm playing right here, as you guys can see on screen, the Paladin build. It's going to be a no-brainer. You're going to absolutely need this to be able to keep up with the heals that you were previously doing. Right now it's giving me bonus heals. In the future, it'll be giving me 5 to 8% bonus, but 20% is just going to be catching up with the other classes of armor, so you're not too far behind. So essentially, it's going to bring it up to where we are now, which is a shame we're not going to be getting the extra, but it is going to maintain us in that region. Now, following on from this, you can also get something called a Shard of Crystallized Azoth, and this would go on one piece of your armor. And essentially what this one does is give you the Divine perk, which is where you gain 9.6% more health from all incoming healing effects. So an example of this is when you do the main story questline. It's a spoiler for anybody that hasn't seen this, so kind of don't listen to this next part, but obviously for those of you that have completed it, when you finish Shattered Mountains, you do get the Infinity Crystal here. You'll see that this has Divine on, and it's plus 9.3 more health from all incoming heal effects. So again, this can go up to 9.6 if you get the maximum when you craft it and stuff as well. And of course here, with this on, that goes really nicely hand in hand with Bless, because obviously you're healing out more, you gain more heals. So if you've got both of those on, you can heal yourself more, which is really essential for Paladin builds, but also is going to be really essential for the majority of classes in the game, particularly tanks. You're going to really want to have something with Divine on if you possibly can. And of course, anybody that is going to be kind of going into that battle healer territory, where you're going to be going in a little bit needing to heal yourself, having Divine on is never going to be a bad thing, but that is more on the armor side of things. So next, just underneath my camera, you guys will see here, there is the Steel Life Staff Charm. Now this one gives us Refreshing Divine Embrace. This is where when using Divine Embrace on a target below 50% health, it reduces the cooldown by 46%. So Divine Embrace, if we have a look at the skills here, for those of you that don't know, is actually this one on the top left here, and it says that it heals the target for 150% weapon damage. Now you can upgrade this to cost 20 mana, which is lower than it initially costs as well. You can then, if the target is below 50% health, heal 1 additional ally within 8 meters for the same amount. And then, of course, the final upgrade to this tree here, which is if a second target is below 50% health, heal another ally within 8 meters of the ally. And then, of course, adding Refreshing Divine Embrace on there. If a target is below 50% health, it reduces the cooldown by 46%, so almost half there, which means that you can refresh this and keep going and heal up to 3 targets, which is really, really good. So that's certainly a good one as well, particularly for PvE and expeditions, but also in those wars, that's going to be absolutely huge. So getting this on will be really, really beneficial. So the next really important one that I want to speak to you guys about is in the bottom left here, and it is the Star Metal Life Charm. Now, this one gives us Fortifying Sacred Ground. What this does, it means that allies that are healed by the Sacred Ground gain Fortify, which increases their damage absorption by 14% for 5 seconds. This is super, super good for any PvP environment, but specifically for those that are playing the Paladin build, this is really, really important. Now, those of you that don't know too much about the Paladin build, or you're kind of new to playing it, it's going to be super, super important when this new update comes. Obviously, the main focus of the Paladin build is getting those Fortify stacks, which we get off Orb of Protection, the light attacks, Sacred Ground if you've got this, and then Orb of Protection as well. So you've got all of those different ones going around. Now, if you get Fortify and Sacred Ground on there as well, it's an extra stack, and it's going to mean that the Paladin build is still very, very viable going into future updates. Okay, yes, you're not going to be able to heal yourself as much, but with ridiculous amounts of stacking Fortify, you're going to take a lot less damage. The healing is going to be enough to sustain yourself with this reduction to the damage that you're going to be getting. And then on top of that as well, you're also going to be able to give that Fortify buff to those other players that are in the front line with you, which is going to make the Paladin honestly still very, very good, because, you know, a lot of people are saying, yeah, you're not going to be able to heal as much, but the Fortify buffs is really what we're playing that build for. And, you know, enhancing it with things like Fortify and Sacred Ground, if you can get that, is going to be really, really good. Now, one thing that's really important to know about the Star Metal Life Charm, which obviously gives you Fortifying Sacred Ground, like I mentioned at the start of the video here, I'm actually in the outfitting station now, and I'm looking at linen shoes, and as you guys can see, it's on the left side there. So my advice for any paladins or any healers that want to be getting both the Fortify buff and the Bless buff, get Blessed on your weapon and put the Fortifying Sacred Ground Charm on one of your armor pieces. It can be absolutely essential for making sure you make the most out of your healing build, and particularly anybody that is playing Paladin. Like I say, when these balance changes come in the next few days, this is going to be super, super important. So make sure you're ahead of the game on that. Get involved on it and get it sorted out so that you are ahead of the curve. The next one here is the Orichalcum Life Staff Charm. And this one is Energizing Splash of Light, which essentially means that Splash of Light, allies hit with this gain 14 stamina. Now, again, going over for you guys, because this is a little bit less used one. Splash of Light is, of course, the third ability on the healing side of the tree, which is where you and all group members within 100 meters are healed for 50% of weapon damage. You can upgrade this to be if you heal a target below 50% HP, then you gain 3% of your maximum mana back. And then you can finally upgrade this again to where Splash of Light also removes 1 debuff. So this can be really, really effective in PvP. And of course, gaining this, allies that get hit with it also gain 14 stamina. If you're playing with pretty much any role in the game, they're going to be appreciative of the stamina. Particularly though, if you're blocking with a shield, you gain that back. Or of course, if you're going to be rolling around, dodging in light armor, blocking in any situation, or indeed just dodging about, everybody is going to appreciate that. So again, some of the healers, some of the people who are more main healing rather than Paladin healing, I would recommend this. While Paladins, I would stay away from this. It's a pointless perk for you guys, because although it does give you some block stamina, it gives it to allies, not yourself. Those that are main healing, this can be really, really useful and can keep those tanks, particularly with their block up for a lot longer, and is especially good in PvE as well. A lot of these have been PvP focused, but this one is really, really good in PvE as well, to enable that tank and all of your other players in the group to be able to keep moving around and the tank to keep blocking. So I would certainly look into this one a little bit more if you've been sleeping on it so far. Next one we've got here then in the bottom middle is of course Reinforced Steel Life Charm, and this one is Mending Protection. Mending Protection is where it increases the healing power by 37% for 5 seconds if Orb of Protection heals an ally with no active buffs. Now, my opinion on this one is that Orb of Protection healing an ally with no active buffs is not very likely. Generally, particularly in PvP environments, but even in expeditions or elite zones, you're going to have multiple buffs, because a lot of, well, pretty much every weapon in the game has some form of self-buff. Players generally eat food, they'll be having potions, they'll be having all sorts of other stuff going on. So the likelihood of this one proccing isn't really that often, to be honest. So I generally steer away from it. But if, of course, you do get someone who's had the buffs removed, or they haven't got any buffs on and you do get a heal on them with Orb of Protection, 37% buff is very, very good. Personally, for me, I don't think it's worth it, so I'm going to move past this one fairly quick. But that is, you know, of course, something that you could get if you wanted to. Then we've got, of course, here, Reinforced Star Metal Life Charm, which gives us Accelerating Light's Embrace. This is where allies below full health gain haste when hit by Light's Embrace, increasing movement speed by 23% for 3 seconds. Again, this can be really, really good in certain situations, but I do feel it has a lack of wider application, like the previous one on that Mending Protection, compared to the rest of the abilities that you can actually opt for here. So for me, I'd be steering away from this one as well. But again, if you are going to make use of it, make sure it's on a dedicated healer and not one of your paladins. Dedicated healers can make good use of this by obviously, you know, allowing people to escape if they can catch them when they're getting caught, allow them to escape with a little bit of a faster speed boost. Or of course, if you're rotating, you can send some of your frontline forward with this ability. So again, in certain situations, if you're going to use it as part of a battle plan, it can be great. If not, probably steer away from that one. Now, the last one here, which you guys will be able to see just underneath my camera, is the Reinforced Orichalcum Life Staff Charm, which is Revitalizing Beacon. This one is when you use Beacon, it increases healing power on self by 37% for 12 seconds. Now, obviously, all of you paladins, your ears have probably pricked up now. That is a very, very good perk, and I would say it's the only one on the entire board that rivals Blessed. Blessed obviously is across the board, it increases your healing by a flatline percentage, but using Beacon increases your healing power on yourself by 37% for 12 seconds. It's a much higher percentage than what you are getting from Blessed. However, it is limited to that 12 seconds after you've used it. Of course, you've got the cooldown on Beacon then, which is generally about 15 to 20 seconds if you've got those reductions from the light attacks. But that being said, of course, generally when you are playing the Paladin build, you are always going to be using Beacon on either yourself or on enemies. So that healing boost could be really, really worth it. I would say if you're not going for Blessed, this is the other thing you want as a Paladin, as it's really, really good. For those of you that are playing main healer roles or off healer roles, this is also a really, really good thing to have. If again, you haven't got Blessed, generally for main healers, Blessed is by far the best option because across the board, you're going to be getting a flatline percentage increase, which is always good. But having this on some of your off healers or even full healers that are going to be spamming Beacon on people, 37% boost if you spam Beacon out and then drop all your other abilities for 12 seconds after that. That's going to be really, really good. So it's certainly something worth considering if you are kind of leading a strategy in a war. You're in charge of the healers, you're in charge of the whole war, whatever it might be, or indeed you're looking to switch your build up a little bit for that PvP environment. This is something that you really don't want to sleep on. Revitalizing Beacon is very, very good. So that would be kind of like my best one, if you like, other than obviously Blessed. And then, like I mentioned up the top there, you do also want to have a good look at this one here, which is of course your Star Metal Life Charm, which is your Fortified Sacred Ground. But get that one on your armor rather than on your weapons, because of course that then frees up the weapon slot to have the Blessed, or of course the Revitalizing Beacon, which means you can then have one of those with Fortifying Sacred Ground. So certainly try and work on that, particularly if you're a Paladin for the upcoming changes, balance changes. Two of those combined is going to make your build still very, very strong, and people will be shocked because they're expecting it to be nerfed into the ground, etc. So really keep your eyes peeled for these ones. Hopefully you guys have found this video useful and informative. If you enjoyed the second part here and you'd like me to continue for things like the Fire Staff, Ice Gauntlet, Bow, Musket, all the other melee weapons as well, then make sure you drop a like and let me know that down below in the comments. If you are new here to the channel and you would like to see more New World content, whether you want to see original content like this where I'm going over the item perks, you want to see some builds, you want to see news and updates, you want to see events, all of that stuff is covered here on the channel. So please feel free to subscribe down below with the notification bell on, as I do upload every single day. So having you here as part of my community would be absolutely amazing. It is free to subscribe and you can unsubscribe at any time later. Other than that, guys, as always, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for watching. Take care and peace.